everybody, and welcome to Nerdsplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jose Romero.
What it is, what it was, what it shall be. Greetings and salutations, all you nerds out there. So much to talk about, finales, and... Well, actually, there's 3 finales, because... After a Marvel's talk, that might be the last time we talk about that stupid shit. So,
don't be hyperbolic.
Hello,
Look,
hello.
all things considered, this has been a fantastic week in Geek. Don't be such a naysayer.
No, there's a lot. No, there's a lot of good stuff to get into for, as far as. But it actually, you know what? It's high quality stuff. High quality. So let's not wasting your time, because the big news is the strike finally ended. Right? We talked about this forever. It was bound to happen at some point. Finally,
people,
they agreed in principle.
Finally get back to work. They finally get to stand in front of cameras and make us go, I eat too much. I need to lose more weight, because holy crap. Finally, we can get back to...
Starring our artists can stop driving Uber and get back to what they do best.
It's carpool karaoke. It's not an Uber. It's called carpool karaoke. The whole thing.
Oh man, it took a while. It came to the 11th hour, man. I heard stuff about they gave like a last final offer and whatever. I think they hadn't budged. The studios hadn't budged on the AI portion where they can use the likeness rights, in perpetuity, or whatever. And I guess they made that tweak at the end after they presented that, so they knew that was never going to be accepted by the actor. So
no way. In
never
perpetuity,
said that.
You gotta pay every time,
right? Every time, even after death. It was ridiculous. That was never going to fly. So they.
Let me tell you something. If the studios somehow managed to pulling off a likeness for perpetuity, I would sue every all-you-can-eat sushi place. Because just because they couldn't eat it now doesn't mean they can't eat it later. You said all can eat. You never said in what day. So according to what the studios can do, I demand a lifetime of service. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Oh my God, Golden Corral would be the best restaurant ever.
All you can eat sushi, homie. None of that Golden Corral garbage. I'm not poor white trash. I am middle class trash.
There's nerds across the spectrum, man. We're just trying to say that. But then back to work. So that being said, hopefully the news will start picking up from this point forward. There are a couple of things, particularly at the MCU, that saw the immediacy of this news, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's stick with this. It's going to be our Marvel, a little bit DC at the end. I'm saving DC to the very, very end, I think.
Sure. All right.
In terms of, we talk about, Doom Patrol and all that, which had its finale, series finale, and as did Loki. We'll get into all that goodness. But first, let's start with something that might be as good. The Marvels finally released. Not a whole lot of fanfare. We talked about before the issues leading up to it and the stuff behind the scenes and whatever, and the lack of financial success this movie was likely to have, and from what I hear, it's pretty bad. I heard I didn't look into it, but I heard on Friday the opening day tracked 30% less than The Flash.
Listen,
I haven't gotten a confirmation on that, but
I know that you saw it. I know we're gonna do a spoiler review of it.
Sure.
I haven't seen it. I don't care about being spoiled, because the main thing that apparently should be spoiled, everyone's already talking about online, which we'll talk about here.
Oh, we'll talk about that too. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I just spoil it. I don't care. I'm gonna watch it anyway. I'm just gonna watch it with my kids. We'll do a group thing out of it. But yeah, so feel free to talk about it.
I don't get too. I mean, I'll mention some things, but
it's
not a lot. Let's be honest. It's not a lot to spoil, because the story is just not even worth it, to be honest with you. But
wow,
look, I'll get into it. And I'll say this, because this is the first thing I told you. But I texted you after I saw it on Thursday, and I was like, listen, it's not the worst MCU film. It's not. Right. It's the worst written one, for sure. I think personally.
That was an interesting take on a bad review.
Yeah,
it's not the worst movie. It's
not
the worst
one.
Written
it was
movie.
Written movie,
which means you were realistic enough to say the actors did a job. Like, they really put in their personality and effort into it.
There's good things in this movie. There really is. But it's the bad outweigh the good. It's just call it what it is. But I do see, because I know I think it finally hit pause like 60% Rotten Tomatoes. For Marvel, that's not a great score, right?
It's not.
For Marvel, right? That's one of the lowest.
It's better than being rotten, but it's
correct.
Barely.
But it's barely
rotten,
there,
right.
And it was clinging on for dear life for the first few days of its release. But whatever that's worth. But if people tell me they liked the movie or thought it was okay, I get it. I'm not gonna be like, it's an egregious thought. I'm not. Right. Someone tells me it's the worst thing they've ever seen. Again, not an egregious thought. I think a lot of people will be entertained by this. particularly the kids. I think the reason the kids are because kids
Okay.
don't give a fuck about the
Cool.
story and all that.
Sure.
They don't. Let's call it what it is, right? And I know people who I've known who actually no one says they love the film. Anybody says they love the film, never listen to them ever again. It just
That's not true. No, that person's a liar.
This is a liar. Because this is an objectively bad written movie, but there is some entertainment stuff about it. So it's not the worst thing ever, but it's definitely there. This is definitely the worst. Man, it's just worse than Ant-Man. Maybe this may be the worst superhero film of the year.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, Blue Beetle was
Wait.
way better.
Because Aquaman hasn't come out so far.
It has a chance to be dethroned off that, no doubt. It's there. That possibility is real.
I'm gonna say something that only the people in the Marvel movie is gonna say. Finally, DC to the rescue.
It's maybe the saving grace. It's coming down to the wire. It's a photo finish. But I would suspect the Aquaman would probably be worse than this. I don't know. Or maybe on this same where it's shit, but there's some entertainment value. And Let's start with the good stuff before I get to the shit. And I think a lot of people have said this and they agree with it. Iman Vellani, right, who plays Miss Marvel. She's great. I liked her in the show. The show was good. I think it was fantastic. But she's just fun. She's infectious, man. I like her, and she's there with the family. Those parts are really good. I'll say this: they did a better job with Brie Larson this time around than the first time around. It actually gave
that's
her
good.
Some semblance of a personality.
Right.
The problem is, it went so. This is good and bad, I guess. It went so over on one side of the spectrum when she's got almost too much. Like there's something in the middle where it would have been nice to see an arc, and there is part of the story that kind of brushes by it. I can see why she went from what we knew her in the first film to now. They just don't give us that, so it's hard to buy into how she is now. Right, a little more flawed, a little more relatable. But they talk about what happened to get her to that point. It would have been nice to have seen her get to that point and earn that, right? But she is better for whatever that's worth.
So it's a show don't tell situation,
right? And sometimes you have to show. You really do.
Yeah.
Particularly with that, because it's almost like a 180. It really is with the character. Some of the action's cool, I guess. There's some funny moments here and there.
I heard there's a really cool action scene with the Flurkins.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh, maybe not good.
No, dude. Okay, so so that's the good. That's the good, right? I think if you just sit there and turn your brain off and watch it on Disney Plus, I think you're fine. I will never tell you, dude, go pay for it. I can't, in good conscience, tell you to do that, right? Like I said, I didn't despise them. It's just terrible. It's not good, right? Let's be honest. So let's start with the easy part. The easy negative. The villain is awful. It's
a Ronan the Accuser knockoff. That's kind of what it felt like.
It made the Accuser look like Thanos level. That's how, and because Ronan the Accuser was not that great a villain. He was whatever. He's middle of the road.
He was a mid boss.
He's mid whatever. It was whatever. She's worse than him. It's just like, and it's funny because this is not mine. I'll see this in somebody. The plot of what she's trying to do is taken from Spaceballs. And I thought I was like, oh my God, you're right. Where, again, little minor spoilers here with the story. So, her planet, whatever, has been decimated for a reason I'll get into in a second. And, they have no resources. So she opens these portals to steal the resources from other planets. Atmosphere, water, etc. Kind of
that's Spaceballs. Is the giant vacuum.
Spaceballs. Hello.
Wow.
Hello. And
wow.
I didn't think about it until after when someone told me. I was like, oh my God, you're so right.
Here's the thing. They're not. If you think about it, Independence Day is the plot of Spaceballs. Those aliens go to planet, they take the resources, and they move on. There's always planet taking elements and resources, but to do in portals is a little bit too much like the hole in Spaceballs with the vacuum cleaner. So now you're too close.
You're too close.
You're too close.
But
you can be in the area. You just can't be that close.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I was like, oh man. So, but overall, but she's generic. She's just no threat. Again, we talk about stakes, right? In some of these films, we're noticing there's just no stakes there, and this is no different, right? Just okay, no, it's gonna happen. I will say, because you did mention that scene with the Flurkins, whatever, the cats, what do you want to call them. There's two scenes in this movie which are absurd and probably the two worst scenes in MCU history. I mean, they're so bad. First one is that scene which comes later on. It's ridiculous. It belonged. This movie, the tone was all over the place. It really is. And this scene is exemplary with that, where it's so ridiculous and it's so unnecessary. And it's like, it became a different movie. The Mouse just started putting the Benny Hill song. I mean,
Oh, I know the song.
I mean, it's really bad. It's really, really. I'm like, what am I watching? I was like, what is this? It was so bad, and it was such a MacGuffin. Why they needed all the cats at the beginning and whatever. I won't get too spoiled into that. The other scene you may have heard about is just they go to a planet. I guess Captain Marvel has a connection with the prince there, the king, whoever, whatever. And they only understand singing. And they only...
Oh, okay, so that was the big musical element they said that was going to be sort of like a musical, right? Okay.
Right, which is they ripped off from the Transformers, if you want to go back to ripping off.
Bobby Brown and I, we Bomb, yeah.
Right, exactly. But dude, that scene, it was like an SNL sketch. It was really odd. It was just like, what in the world am I watching? It was so jarring. The costumes were ridiculous. What they were singing, it was just so bad. And it was like, it was trying to be almost like a Guardians kind of vibe to it at times.
I was about to say, that sounds like something you would see in a Guardians
right movie. It works in Guardians, right, because it set it up, but right. It doesn't work in the Marvel. Wow, I was I was floored, dude. I really was floored.
This is my question. If the whole joke of that scene, that part of the movie is, oh, their culture's sick, so you have to sing to communicate with their culture, would it have made sense if they would have encountered another culture and learned that and made mistakes because they didn't think they had to behave differently, so they were more amicable to doing this because we don't want to get in trouble like we did in that last planet, so now we got to do this. So you kind of see them putting effort, even though they're still bad at it. I think that would have been fun. Am I wrong?
Perhaps, maybe they didn't take that approach.
Right.
But that, I mean, it just belonged to a different movie. It's just so jarring when you have the tones like that. It's like it goes from here to here. It's like, okay, what is? I mean, it was weird. And you can tell this was rewritten. The editing was choppy as hell. It reminded me of Justice League, the Joss Whedon version, where the quick cuts, you can tell some things were not supposed to be there initially, and they're there now. I heard that scene was cut like 15 minutes. I get it. It's a hodgepodge of films, and this was probably reworked to death, and you can clearly tell what that
was. There a lot of like exterior pans and voiceovers, so they could just put in a lot of info dumps?
No, that probably would have made it better. It seems like that just so odd. I was like, oh my god, it's just really bad writing. That there's no need for any of that stuff because it took away from the story. It just went there for some stupid reason, whatever. The whole thing with the whole, you've seen the trailer where, they use the powers and I guess they interchange positioning, right? Whatever. Which is an interesting gimmick, right? Because some of the action scenes use that and it kind of worked out. I'll admit to that. But it was, again, you can tell it was created, the whole concept, just so they can do action scenes like that. Because you didn't need to do that at all. And at one point on the film, it just stops. And they say, oh, it doesn't work anymore. Okay. Whatever. And it uses when they use the powers, when it happens, sometimes they use powers, it doesn't happen, sometimes they do, and it happens. It's just inconsistent. It's like,
so you can't break your own rules.
Right.
Establish the rule until you defeat the problem, and then the rule stops.
And you break it. It's like, it just doesn't make, it's awful, terrible, right? It's just bad writing. It's like, what's going on here? I don't understand what the hell was going on. Rambo was useless. I liked her in the role, but she didn't need to be. She was only there because of the end credit scene, and I'll get to that. Right. Because I don't know what her powers are, and neither do they. At one point, she can fly, although she doesn't know how to fly. But Captain Marvel tells her use black girl magic or something like that. Black people, I don't know. So it was really weird. And now she can fly real quick. But also on the scene she flies in, and then she can, go through objects or whatever. I can't think of the word. And she can see light as per her own explanation. But then she's shooting stuff, and then she flies, and then she can take these powers and it's just like you can tell she was just being used for whatever they needed, the convenience of the script, including the end. And I'll talk about that because when all this ripping all these holes that the bad guys, I can't know her name, is ripping up to take the resources, eventually she's too much power and it rips a hole into time and space, right? I.e. a different universe,
an incursion,
right? Yeah, thank you. There you go. I don't know if you use that word or not. It doesn't matter.
I will say, just Monica Rambeau, She's also known as Photon or Spectrum. She used to be Captain Marvel as well. And her power is actually really cool because they just did a miniseries with her where they were beefing her up to essentially like Speed Force Flash level because she could tap into and manipulate every form of energy. So the light spectrum, electromagnetic, all that. So they're in this miniseries, they were tapping into like if she could manipulate and tap into all forms of energy, then time and space are essentially forms of energy as well that she could start to tap into. And that was what the miniseries is about, which I thought was really interesting. I was kind of hoping they would do something like that in the movie, and it sounds they did, but in a really like simple, dumb way.
Right, exactly. It's like it goes back to the writing, right? It's just
right.
bad script writing. And there's moments there where like they touch on the history between her and Captain Marvel, which I thought, okay, let's get more of this, but nothing. Right, there's no emotional kick at all, and they were trying to do it. Like I said, it seems like it got chopped up, right? Just like okay, and there's this backstory of why the bad guy is the way she is, because I guess Captain Marvel destroyed some AI that they had, and because of that, the planet went kaput.
Oh, is that the Supreme Intelligence, the Kree Supreme Intelligence?
I don't think they mentioned it by name, but
is that the thing that Annette Bening was supposed to be in the first movie?
Maybe, yeah, and it's like
with the giant head in the jar with the tentacles.
Yes, thank you. Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's the Kree Supreme Intelligence.
Okay, so they just brushed by that as a quick little flashback kind of thing.
And the Kree Supreme Intelligence were like one of the major characters of the Kree Empire. How do you not do that?
Thank you. Right, it feels like there should have been on Captain Marvel 2, and then which is what I'm saying. And then because of those events, she became because she talks about it, but then, again, they don't show it, right? And that's the kind of thing. It's like, what are they doing? I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who this movie's made for. It's very odd. It's some entertaining moments, but it's very odd. And then there's only one post mid credit scene. There's no post like final scene. It's just one. But before I get to that, Sam Jackson. He's like the opposite of what Nick Fury has been this entire time. He seemed like he was just a bystander, almost incompetent, jokey. Didn't we just see this guy in Secret Invasion?
Being sad and worn down.
It's just the complete antithesis of that. It's the complete opposite of that. And I'm like, wait, who is this guy? Who's writing this? And what haven't they seen before? I
have an idea. He hooked up with his wife again. He's been getting that constant scroll cussy. And scroll cussy is just knocking it out of the park. It makes you happy. Like,
I don't know.
It's sick. Woo! Like, that's the only thing I can think about it.
How do we know?
If it could shapeshift, the world's your oyster. So what I'm saying is, I would be that happy. I think that would turn my life around. Maybe that's what we need. If you're depressed in the Marvel Universe, start hooking up with a scroll. It's all taken care of.
I mean,
suicide rate goes down. We'll all get better about ourselves. I think that's a way to do it.
Yeah, it's just odd. And there was another cool scene, which, man, okay, if they build off that, because where the Skrulls, one of the planets was being invaded by whatever the Kree, and so they have to evacuate. The Marvels do, and there's a scene where Miss Marvel is trying to save everybody, but it's not possible. The planet's incinerating, right? And Captain Marvel grabs her and tells her, she's like, we got to go back. Captain Marvel says, we can't save everybody. That's not what we do. So along those lines. That's an interesting aspect for something like Miss Marvel learning how to become a hero. But they never mention it again. Just one quick sentence and that's it. They never harp on that before. There's no conversation. And that could be something interesting to explore, but what it takes to be a hero. You're a young girl who wants to be part of the team. This is the kind of stuff that it takes to get. And they just, again, they mention it real quick. Good line, but that's it. And it's like, it's weird. I don't know what the hell's going on here. It's just, whatever they mix together is like a Frankenstein of 4 or 5 different films in one. It's really awful. It's really bad. It's entertainingly bad. That's the best way I can describe it.
If that's the case, I heard that since the writer's strike is now over and beautiful people are going back to work, one of the things is that next year, all we're going to get is Deadpool. And they're doing something like 50 to 60% reshoots. On Captain America and Thunderbolts.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Like, is that a reaction to how bad this was?
There's a reason why, and I'll get to why they're doing those reshoots to begin with. But it's not really about. Okay. Not really about the Marvels. At least not directly anyway.
Right. Okay.
The ending sets up. Spoilers. This is a major spoiler, I guess. The pre-credit.
I don't even want to put like an image, Jose, of a spoiler. Like,
I'll do this because I don't know. Oh, sorry. But at the end, that's all wrapped up. Whatever. There's one scene in the end where we have they're setting up the Young Avengers, which is a huge mistake. So
I disagree.
What's her face? Because again, it goes back to we talk about the inundation of what's going on, right? And all these other stuff. And you and I have been harping, do less, do less, do less. You can't do less and set up what they want to set up and then start doing all this other crap, which doesn't make sense. These girls, young girls, again, people will cry MCU. I get it. They're feeding that fire. And whether you agree with it or not, it's fair because she mentions the Ant-Man's daughter and she's recruiting Haley Stanfield's character from Hawkeye.
Who, Miss Marvel is recruiting?
Yeah, Miss Marvel is recruiting.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, she's at her apartment, tells her, well, I talked to whoever, Ant-Man's daughter, younger, whatever, and then talking to her, and she's like, I'm 23, I'm not even that young. She's like, oh, it's a whole new world you're not aware of. She's aware of it, because she was in Hawkeye.
Right.
She's aware of the world. Terrible writing, whatever, fine. So she's recruiting, and that's how that piece ends. I'm like, why would... First of all, this Ant-Man's daughter is so interesting, who gives a shit? Let's be honest. If a show came out next week, and I tell you, hey, you'd be like, who cares? It'd be Echo. Who cares?
Right.
Let's be honest. And then again, Stanfield's character. Who cares? Who cares? She wasn't that good in that show. She just wasn't. That show was not worth it. Again, we're drawing from the well of crap to do what? Develop a show, Young Avengers. Who cares? We can't even get Kang right now. It's all bullshit. Why are we worried about setting up Young Avengers? Slow it down, right? It goes back to slow it down. We're not ready for Young Avengers. I'm sorry. And by the time they are in 5-6 years, these girls will be late 20s. They're not Young Avengers. It's not going.
They'll just be the Avengers. I'm cool with just Avengers, man.
Put them in the Avengers.
New Avengers.
Fine. Put them in there, right? But that's not what they set up, right? So that could have been something that had set up, and maybe they're rethinking that they should. It's not. Nope, dude. There's a reason why this movie isn't making any money. There's a reason why, and I promise Young Avengers will not make any much more than this. It just won't. So that aside, so now the end credit scene. We all know, we all seen it. Was all spoiled. The end credit scene. Whatever. I mean, you've heard about it, right? I mean, you know what it is, right? I assume.
It is. Right. It is the. If I'm not mistaken, Monica Rambeau wakes up in essentially a variant version of the X-Men universe.
Correct, and we see Beast.
I heard it's a CG Beast, not even straight.
Yeah, it's the CG is really bad, and I have a picture of this because I thought about this when I got home. Like, okay. I thought I was looking at the MC Scat Cat from like the Paula Abdul video, and I wish I was joking. Maybe I'm exaggerating, and I put a picture of the eye here, so you guys who are not old enough to know who MC Scat Cat is. But it was like that, dude. It was really bad CGI, dude. It was embarrassing. I was like, oh my god. Like with the kind of they had the Henry Cavill mouth thing when they dubbed him with the mustache. It was really bad. It was awful. I don't know why they allowed that to be on screen, dude. It was embarrassing.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. It was I was Kelsey Grammer's voice, but it wasn't him in the suit. And I didn't think he looked bad in this. That was the least of that movie's problems with the Last Stand. I thought he looked okay, right? Fine, okay. Even when this guy took over in First Class. In the second generation of the X-Men, that looked pretty good too.
Right, in Days of Future Past, he showed up as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he showed there, and he had so the old and new all there.
So, but it looked really bad. And that scene, I don't know what they're gonna do with that scene. I think they just did it to do it. To be honest with you, I don't think this has any implication with anything moving forward. And this whole movie had nothing to do with nothing coming out, which is again we talked about an issue like they're setting stuff up. That's not part of the main dish. Right.
I will say this movie did prove you wrong one way, because you said, let's face it, this movie's going to have nothing to do with the multiverse. And you were wrong. And whenever you're wrong, I'm happy. So you were wrong.
It's still not multiverse, dude.
She went to another universe.
And that's where she's going to stay. That they think
there was an incursion, and that's multiverse. That is the multiverse.
I guess.
So,
if that's the standard we're gonna go with, great. But I also said MCU can do multiverse right, and have yet to be proven wrong. And this just adds to it. The way she got there, the ending, it's ridiculous. She's the smartest person in the world. Fair enough. Maybe she is. You tell me if that's true in the comics. I don't know.
I disagree with that statement because it's something else we're going to talk about later this episode.
Right,
but we'll get to that.
Clear. She has to be the most genius person ever. More than Tony Stark, more than Shuri, all that. It has to be. It's the only right. It's the only explanation. Maybe she is, and maybe she's in the comics.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Right.
She does a lot of dumb shit in this film, so it kind of disproving that. Fair enough. But it was just a waste of time. It's just a total waste of time. Disappointing. This thing's gonna bomb. This makes less than Flash. That's pretty bad. This movie cost them $300 million too, by the way. $300 million budget.
With all the reshoots and everything, right?
I would assume so. All encompassing. I know they got a big tax break because it's shot in London, so I think it's really 245. It's still pretty fucking high. Not to mention the marketing budget, which may be close to 50, 75 to $100 million.
So make it 300 back again.
350, 375 probably. It's not gonna. I don't think it makes that.
If Flash made 400 million, if they could make Flash money, they technically broke even, which it won't be the worst.
They don't break even. They said they spend 350, right?
Oof.
This is right after marketing. Let's assume that because whatever. Even if you go 300, fine, 300.
Right.
The movie makes $300 million worldwide. Fair enough. They only get 2/3 of that.
It's true. So it's still a loss.
You're only losing $100 million off jump.
Yeah.
And this movie's tracking less than Flash.
Yikes.
Right, but it may make more. I don't know. Maybe word of mouth. May help this movie. Look at the Flash box office real quick. So I'm kind of curious what it ended up with.
And the Marvels doesn't even have the excuse of going like, well, the problem is our main star is kind of a problematic.
Oh no, yeah, this had no controversy, no issue.
No, it's everyone there is squeaky clean.
That made 270.
Oof, even worse.
So
they can't even make Flash money.
They have to make more than Flash money.
Better than a Flash.
And I think Hunger Games comes out next week. The lucky Dune wasn't around.
Ooh, Dune would have knocked him out of the park.
Yeah, dude, it would have been really bad. So that thing to do with Hunger Games. It's not gonna make money. It maybe makes 50. Which is not a good number for this kind of film. So overall, listen, it's a disaster. It's just a disaster. This goes back to just it's become par for the course, man. With Marvel lately, I don't know what it is. A few gems here and there, exception, but it's been bad. It's been bad, and I'll mention this now. I'll bring this up now because I want to get your thoughts on it. Because this could be part of a problem. Because we both agree this was a bad idea. Because there's rumors about Robert Downey Jr. Right, about him coming back, and they will reinforce early this weekend another story saying he is presumably coming back or signed something. To what degree, I don't know. This could be it's for all we know, it could be a quick cameo, maybe, or it could be he's in Secret Wars, maybe. No one knows if this is indeed true. Again, I don't want to see that. I really don't, dude. I don't. That doesn't solve any problems, man. I know you talked about it too. You don't want to see this.
I want to see. I told you, I'm cool with seeing him during the Kang Dynasty Secret War, but not after.
Right, not as a main cog or whatever.
Right. No, not a bringing back. Don't recast. Move on. Robert Downey Jr. was great. Give him the ultimate swan song, which is to be with all the other people in all the movies he never got to be in. With Secret Wars, cool.
Yeah,
that's it.
Give
me Robert Downey Jr., give me Nicolas Cage, give me Wesley Snipes all together, and then let them go. Because if you love something, you set it free. So let it go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but that, but that's just, it goes back to the chaos that's there. I don't think they know what they're doing, what they want to do, and this seems desperate, right? Bringing him will be, I think, a desperate move. Almost like if you look at the trailers that they had for the last few Miss Marvel trailers.
They really focus on the Avengers.
The like, okay. They were just, come on, guys, come back, please, come see this movie. And even
you guys remember how good this movie made you feel? Right. That this is not that movie, but remember that movie. Just
but come on, check it out anyway. And I think that even had a voiceover. I had missed this. Someone told me a Thanos voiceover in that film were saying, "Oh, someone's carrying my." Traditional.
Yeah, there's gonna be someone who carries my torch or carries my mission, and I'm like, what? That's because for everything I knew about the movie, none of it is that. To the universe. Right. So like that's the only thing Thanos was about.
Right. So it's not. So it was just complete not. I think again they just added in there to get you all excited. They're talking about Miss Everett. They're desperate, and it's just a mess. It's a freaking mess. So now let's go back to, you mentioned it. The whole they talked about the actor strike, and they're gonna start Deadpool begin shooting in January. Will begin January. They're going to push it now to July, right? I think it was May originally. So huge push.
Right, because they got essentially they said they got about half the movie done.
Right,
and the second half in January, and then fast track it to July, which is great because it's my birthday in July.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm happy to have a summer movie for me. Yeah, awesome.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm excited about Deadpool because for me this is not an MCU movie. This is a Deadpool movie. Deadpool was an established character from Fox, right? To me, that it's gonna carry that legacy. To me, this will be like almost like Guardians was kind of his own separate thing, for the most part.
Right.
Deadpool, I think, is gonna be his own separate thing. Things I've been hearing has only reinforced that.
but it's gonna crash land into Marvel hard. That's what they've said. It's gonna, even if you feel like it's a Deadpool movie,
Of
it's
course,
gonna
you're gonna get
bash into
Oh, no,
Marvel.
of course,
Right
yeah.
in there,
It's going to be part. It's going to be all mixed in there, but it's still at its heart, it's still a Deadpool film. MCU didn't create it. Let's not get
right.
excited and just following. They're taking the recipe and just adding some
It's
MCU
gonna be
stuff.
rated R.
Right, exactly, and doing what they should do. So, which is great. But I think, look, I'm excited. I think it's going to be really good, no doubt. So now they made the announcement first about it moving to July. So the thought process was, okay, that's in the slot where Captain America was. Everyone thought, okay, we'll just move up Captain America because that film is finished filming in June, this past June, before the strike.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so just move it up to the May slot, right? There we go. And then Thunderbolts later that year. But come to know that now they have postponed that Captain America and Thunderbolts, moving those into 2025, February for Captain America. I think it's summer for Thunderbolts. Misquote me on that. And then they said, oh, they're gonna push Blade. Shocker. Again, from February slot to 25, 2024, I'm sorry. 24, I mean, not 25, 24. And pushed all the way to the end during November or whatever for Blade. Which that's not going to happen either, but whatever, fair enough.
Well, it is going to happen because they have to make more space for more female leads. They're going to teach them life lessons.
Well, fair enough. They're going to get Meryl Streep in there, and Kate Blanchett. Talking about world class actresses who can go toe to toe with Blade. But yeah, so now we got those three.
Judy Dench,
and Blade. Put her in there, whatever. So, God, disaster. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. But I did learn more specifically that, yeah, you're right. They were doing a bunch of reshoots for Captain America.
And Thunderbolts. Or restructuring the whole script.
Right, or whatever.
To make it right.
I don't know. I didn't find out if they were actually shooting that yet. I don't know, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Maybe they were shooting it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, they hired the guy from Beef to do a rewrite.
Now they're going back. So they start filming it, right? That I'm not sure.
Not yet, no.
Fair enough.
But apparently, the changes they make to Captain America are going to affect the Thunderbolts, so there's a rewrite on that as well. That's what I heard.
Which makes sense. I think those two kind of related,
or very sister-ish,
right? Or adjacent, whatever. So come to find out that they changed the path of this film, not because of what happened with Marvels or whatever, and not do with that. It's because they had a lot of test screenings, and it's tested very, very poorly. And they panicked, and they're reshooting from, I hear, January through May reshoots. That's a long set of reshoots.
That's 5 months. That's a lot.
And this just reeks of bad news for this film. Because listen, how many times have we heard major reshoots? When has that ever worked? Never. That's never worked. Maybe there's reshoots all the time, no doubt. Every movie's got reshoots. I don't care who you are. Talking about major, talking about 60% reshoots of half the movie reshoots. It never works. We hear this all the time because if you tell me they're scrapping the whole thing, great. But they're not. They're just gonna do what happened with the Marvels. They're gonna do some patchwork and change some things, and it's gonna be a mishmash of films.
Well, I don't think so. If you're doing 5 months, you're changing a lot of things. That's some. You're changing a lot,
but they're not doing 100%, and it just hasn't worked. It just that spells doom. You hear that? That's where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And let's be honest.
But here's what I say too. If they're doing 5 months of reshoots in 2024,
that's the word. I'm not sure that's how accurate
right.
that is.
But let's say five. Let's say 5. I hope 5. Honestly, I hope 5. Because if they're doing 5 months of reshoots for the movie to release the following year, that means you have at least 4 months of rendering and CG. That's just a good amount of time.
I'm not worried about the post work. That's fine.
I am, because if something's not testing well, A, it's story, but B, it's visuals. Kind of like Marvel. You're saying that.
A lot of times the visuals in these test screenings are unfinished parts of the movie, and then make them aware of it. So the fans know, because they know people when they say, well, this was not finished. We know that.
Right.
They want them to focus on.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So I don't think it has anything to do with that. But again, they say 5 months, but I think because of scheduling stuff, I don't think they're doing consecutive 5 months. Could be some here, because with the strike, everyone's schedules is all over the place, right? There's a lot of actors in this film, right? Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie and whatever, Sebastian Stan. So it's difficult. So I think they just set that time aside, and during that time, they're gonna do the reshoots, whatever. But they're extensive. That's a lot, dude. That's not good.
That's a lot.
That's not good. So basically, the initial product was crap. Let's just call it what it is. It was garbage, right? Let's be honest. I didn't see it, but it's like a genius to know They didn't like it. That's not a good sign. That's really bad. And it's just indicative of what we've seen from the MCU, man. It's just like, and to me, they should just not even release this movie. They honestly just pack it in, dude. Do it. Get Batgirl. At least DC had the common sense, right? They could have withheld all the films, but they said, you know what? Okay, not even we would do this. MCU needs to do it because the brand it's in shambles, man. And I like the fact that they moved Deadpool, and that's the only thing we get. And we said take a break, right? Okay, let's take a break. A year, only one week, great. But the problem is like going on a diet, and after you diet, you're going back and eating pizza. It's not gonna work, and you're going back.
Oh, for breakfast, lunch, and
right?
dinner.
And then you go back, right? So here, it's been crappy. It's been a downswing. Reputation of Marvel has taken a hit. We all know that. Box office is low. Okay, fine. Take a break. Great. Let's regroup. Let's not regroup and open up with a shitty Captain America movie and a Thunderbolts, which no one really gives a shit about. That's not what you should do. I like the break. Don't release these films, because if you come back after a break and these movies aren't good, it's gonna do huge damage to the brand, which is already on the downtick, man. There's a reason why no one went to go see the Marvels. And before, people knew it sucked. I mean, people liked it, fine. But before the ratings were coming out, the tracking was bad. Not because people thought it was going to suck, because nobody cares. No, people are just disenchanted with it. And I get why, because we don't get... It goes... We were at a point, as I mentioned in my review, with MCU, where we went from expectations to hope. We expected early on it was going to be great. Now we're just hoping it's okay or it's good. That's not the way we want to go into the MCU, right? And if you take a break, and Captain America it's not going to be good. I'm telling you right now, it will not be a good film. You don't do 60% and come out the other end like roses. It's never happened historically, and it's not going to happen. And when this company does it, it never works. You're going to come back to it, and here we go, same old MCU. Here we go again. That's not
Back
good.
to the Future, they had to redo like 60% of the movie.
On the original, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. But if you want to put money, this is going to be Back to the Future, I will gladly take that bet.
I'll put $5 on it. That sounds reasonable.
That's going to be as good as Back to the Future?
No, not as good as Back to the Future. I'm saying Back to the Future did 60% reshoots and it came out to be a good movie.
That's true. Fair enough. One movie, fine. But you can't, the rule is not the exception.
Right.
Just be honest, right? And we see Marvel reshoot. We know what Marvel does at reshoots. Nothing. Garbage. We just saw it. Crap. And I'm not looking forward to... I didn't want Captain America. I told you I wasn't excited about that. I don't think anybody was. Let's be clear. Let's be honest. Nobody cared.
It would have been fun. It wasn't exciting. I was hoping for a fun movie, right?
Just put it on Disney Plus. Put it out there. Why not? The show came on Disney Plus. Okay. Why not? Just put it on there. Give 2 hours, and if it sucks, fine. The reputation will take a hit. You're not losing as much money. Because now the expenses have gone substantially higher.
Yeah.
We just talked about the money. A movie that probably could have cost 150, 180, and that would be close to 300. That's just bad business. Don't release it. Put it on Disney Plus. Take a break. Particularly knowing that this film is going to have nothing to do with the big picture of the MCU. It's not. So you can sit on this and put it out later if you want. Focus on this.
Do you think the rewrite may be so it has more impact to at least setting up how the Earthbound heroes react to the Kang Dynasty?
I don't know.
Because to me, it sounds like, from what I heard, my sources, they were telling me that it's because of the reaction of like how negative, or not negative, but how slow the multiverse has been playing out and how negative the movie reaction is. They're trying to zhuzh things up. Like if you put like, you're putting product in your hair to use a peacock. They're trying to zhuzh things up to merge the multiverse, to fast track it, and to kind of set up what the world's going to be like. So when the multiverse war happens, you already know, like, oh, of course, because they're here. That's maybe what I heard. I don't know. The part of the rewrite. So to me, I'm like, that kind of makes sense because you're realizing where you're going before wasn't working. So you're course correcting.
They should scrap this whole multiverse thing. I've been saying it.
Well, you can't scrap it. You got to find. No, you got to finish it. You got to finish it.
You can scrap it. There's no reason to think. Honestly, I think people are gonna be like, "Oh, no one's gonna care, dude." You take a break and you come back with something. You come back with Doctor Doom, Galactus, start over, Fantastic Four, X-Men. Let's just get to we all. None of people really care about. You hear more than anything else is X-Men, right?
Yes.
Right. I mean, let's call it what it is. And which, hey,
they've waited 5 years. They want the X-Men.
Yeah, it's been more than 5 years. And also, I think it was back. I forget when Fox bought I'll look it up. I look it up right now.
I think it was like maybe 2018. I think you're right. Yeah.
Maybe.
Then it's got to be 5 years. It's 2018.
When did Disney buy Fox? Let's see, because now I am curious because that's been a while, man.
I think it's been 5.
Whoops. It helps if I know how to spell, right?
Yeah. Could you?
2019.
It's been less than 5
no,
years.
they acquired it 2017. It was official 2019. So the announcement was made 2017.
6 years.
6 years.
6
By
years.
the time we see it, it's going to be another 3 years. At least
9-10 years.
That's a long
time. Oh my God!
Dude.
That's a long. They should wait 10 years for the X. They should wait 10 years.
That's fine.
That's what you got to do.
That's totally fine. And obviously delaying some season, I guess. But dude, get to that. This multiverse is not working. I'm sorry, it has not worked. It hasn't worked. And as great as Loki was, that version of Kang is not the Kang we need to get. So they still haven't given us the Kang we're going to see. They haven't set up anything.
Right.
It's just like, what are we doing here? And that's if this guy's not found guilty. That's another.
Right.
We still got that looming, right?
Well, I mean, but to be fair,
he may be innocent.
With the multiverse, you can recast.
I mean,
easy.
you
like it's
could,
not,
but
right.
it does throw a little wrench into things, right?
Sure, absolutely. Because Jonathan Majors, especially with his performance in this last episode of Loki, really enjoyed it. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But now if he's not there, it's like, okay, it's just more on top of everything else, right? It's just more problem, more issue. Just scrap it. It's okay. I think people like, that's fine. No one's gonna be up in arms. Oh my God, because it's not working. The fans don't care. It's confusing. We have no idea what the multiverse really is, right? We've seen snippets of it, but that's it. It's just all we know is just it's cameos. The way to get cameos. The way to get Tobey Maguire in there. Okay, great. Way to get Beast in there or Scat Cat. Way to get him in there. Great. But that's it. That's all we have.
Logan, you must take 2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
Well, they see a drunk Paulo Duo there. Hey, guys.
You have to use Magneto because opposites attract.
Oh, they should have used MC Scat Cat. Come on, guys. So listen, it's a mess. We can all agree it's a mess right now, right? And they need to course correct however that's done, right? I do like the year off, with the exception of Deadpool. I think that's well, I know we're getting a couple of shows, but whatever.
Deadpool's sort of like a sure thing.
That's a sure thing.
Like
if you screw up Deadpool, oh my God, dude, there's no hope for the MCU, dude. I swear to God, no hope. If you can't get that right, you have a blueprint for Deadpool. You don't got to do a whole lot. You don't. Just.
You have like 80% of the original band getting back together.
Come on, you adding Hugh Jackman? Stop. You can't. You mess this up. There's no hope for it. If I were Kevin Feige, I don't even care.
That's like saying you can't get laid in a women's prison with a pardon. Like it's all there.
It's right there. It's for the taking. It's just come on, man. Come on. So let me fingers crossed. I'll have no doubt this is going to be a good movie. Despite all Marvel's issues, I have faith in this particular film. I really do. And I think it's going to be great. God, I hope so. I really hope so. Maybe just trying to convince myself. I don't know. Maybe. Because again, dude, just get this wrong, dude. I swear to God, dude. It's over for the MCU. It's totally over. Just scrap it. Just scrap it. So yeah. So it's kind of it's been all over the place. But that being said, let's do Loki first here. Let's do Loki. I know you've been chomping at the bit.
I really have.
You really have. So finale came out. And I'm gonna put the floor is yours. I know you're itching about this one, so please.
My review for Loki is like take everything Jose said is wrong about the multiverse and reverse it, and that's what's great about Loki. They explain the multiverse. It's great Marvel storytelling with a point of view. It's done stylistically. It moves the story forward. Great. He Who Remains and Victor Timely, all variants. Everything that we just complained about that Jose hates about the multiverse, Loki did it right and good, and it was fun, and I enjoyed every part of it. I was mad that every MCU show has not been as interesting as this series.
Gotcha. Okay, I think so.
That's what made me mad about it. I was watching it, I was like, this has a feel, a flavor, a tone. It matters without affecting everyone else, but it does. It's really smart. Like, this is the kind of stuff that made Marvel Marvel.
That's fair.
This season is the kind of stuff that people go, have you seen Marvel? Oh, no, it's not that regular superhero garbage. It's really good because, and then they explain why it's good. Like the first Avengers or Winter Soldier was, or Iron Man. You tell me, like, it's not what you think it is. It's actually this, but it's superheroes, which is really cool. this reminded me of what made Marvel Marvel. And I was mad that it's been so long that I got it. I love the fact that we have it. I hope Marvel is noticing the stark difference of reaction between the Marvels and Loki when both of them are dealing with aspects of the multiverse, but one is just knocking it out of the park, and the other made Jose use those words.
Yeah, it really is. It's maybe, I don't know, it's maybe probably, and it's a low bar in Marvel shows. It really is. This has been the best one, I thought, out of all of them. Again, it's a low bar, so whatever, take that for what it is. But it's really good, man. I really enjoyed it. I love the arc that Loki got. Right, that's what impressed me more than anything else. Forget anything multiverse, I don't care. That arc, right, and how he ended up and why he ended up the way he did, and obviously his glorious purpose finally discovered, right? Not the glorious purpose that anybody was thinking, not him. He's sitting at I forgot what the name of the tree is. You probably know.
Yggdrasil. But now it's Yggdrasil, the multiverse tree, not the world's tree.
Right, exactly. It was drawn from that, obviously, right?
Right, absolutely.
North mythology. Am I wrong with that?
North, okay. Yeah, Norse.
Which makes sense, Loki and Thor.
Yeah.
But
I will say something that the new rock stars pointing out that I was the first one to point out, but then they came out with the video yesterday. We're recording today. I love the fact that they base Loki's ability to time travel on the X-Men's Days of Future Past idea of time travel, which is you can affect the past if you're traveling within your own line of existence.
Right. Yeah, it's all connected, right? It's
I love that. Like as I was watching, like he's doing what Days of Future Past. You took Wolverine from the year 2030 and you threw him in 1970, but it's still Wolverine,
right?
But because he's there in his mentally physical body, he can affect the change in the past. I'm like, that's what Loki's doing on a Groundhog Day level, which is insane. I loved all of it.
It took a few centuries to learn physics.
A few centuries later, I was like, that broke my heart.
That's funny.
But it's like coming like a boss. I was like, all worth it. All of it.
That was really good. It's not much I didn't like about it, to be honest with you. What this means moving forward, I have no idea. I don't think they know either. Nothing that's a problem.
I'd like to think that they do. I'd like to think that the Kang dynasty comes from maybe them attacking Loki and Yggdrasil starts to fall apart. That's what
maybe this is the way it's supposed to be, and Kang knew that. I mean, I don't know. They kind of play. He knows everything, right?
Right, and that's what I like too, dude.
Which is cool.
That's what I like too. This series, because they did it like in episode 2 of this season, and they did it with the end of this. They don't explain everything. Sure. They're like, you're an adult. Think about it. Figure it out. Whatever you think it is, maybe it's that. We'll let you know eventually, maybe. But no part of your not understanding affects the overall quality of how good this is. No. That's great storytelling.
It was well done. It was well crafted. Great season, man. It deserves the praise and all that. I mean, it's not the greatest show ever. Let's not oversell it, but
no, it's not the greatest.
But it's really well done. It's just fun, and it did something that I think none of the other shows have, maybe, and that's finished strong, right? Which I've been asking for 2 years or how long they're doing. Can we stick a landing for once? Just once. That's all I'm asking. I'm not greedy.
And here's the thing: just because it's a superhero show, movie, blah blah blah, you can have a happy ending, but it doesn't have to. No, you can have a good ending, but it doesn't have to be a happy ending, because Loki, everyone got what they thought they wanted, but not the way they wanted it, and they realized that if they really wanted this is how you get it.
Right.
Loki finally sits on the throne on top of everything, but he's alone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is the thing he hates the most.
That sucks.
That's lonely. But at the same time,
but he embraced it, right? He accepted it. He knew that was his path. That's what he had to do.
Yeah.
Right? He made a choice.
That was his burden for his glorious purpose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everything he said he wanted, he got. Just nothing. Because it's like that scene he has when he's talking to Mobius, where he's like, when you have a burden, it's never glorious.
Yeah, true.
Because if you don't do it, the burden of not is too much to handle.
Fair. Yeah,
like that line, like to me, like honestly, that line is right up there with what is grief but love persevering. Like it is one of those really significant lines in Marvel and in history, in Marvel history, and in really good TV shows. When you have a line that lets you know it's okay to be sad.
Yeah, no, really good. Yeah,
As
absolutely.
long as
Yeah,
it's for a greater, a good, for a good, not for just being sad to be sad. If you're sad because of a good, it's okay to be sad. That's the one thing I feel like a lot of Marvel is missing. It's okay to be sad. Sometimes you got to lose to win.
yeah.
Stuff like that is what makes heroes
And it
heroes.
adds
That's
what a lot of these shows lacking as weight,
yeah.
right?
Wait, exactly.
Emotional weight, stakes. It's just almost all, not all, but most of them don't have this, right? This one did it. I was really happy. I was like, good ending, bravo. Yeah, I mean, I assume
Look,
we see
even
Loki again. This isn't the end of Loki.
yeah,
I
no.
doubt that.
Tom Hiddleston's in it to win it.
Right.
This
I
is not
mean,
his
yeah,
wrap up.
no.
And
Here's
I'll say, look, even look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, a good ending, not a happy ending,
correct.
because you lost all the main people, but you had this new place to start. But it had to come from loss and walking away and kind of accepting this is your time. That's what good superheroing is all about. It's what good stories are about. It's everyone's happy, like it's a happy ending, or it's a good ending, but not everyone's happy because to get to the good, sometimes you got to sacrifice a little, and that's what makes a good story.
Yeah.
Not the greatest story, just a good. Sometimes you just want a good story. Loki, good story.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
Listen,
good story.
absolutely, yeah.
Give us good,
Give us
not
good,
happy, not.
give
not
us whatever the story, what makes sense for the story, right? If it makes sense to
Sure.
be happy, that's great. I love that. We all like happy endings. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't always have to be happy, and roses and all that. Bad things can happen, which makes sense and still have an impact, as what this show did, and what this next show did, and that is.
Wait, real fast. I just want to say as well. It's like going back to the first Avengers movie or the first Iron Man movie. Iron Man needed to lose his the guy who taught him to be responsible,
Right,
and have to kill the guy who was essentially his father figure to become a better person.
Yeah.
The first Avengers movie, you had to lose Coulson for the Avengers to become a team.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
There's got to be some loss.
There's
got to be
There
a struggle.
always is, right? And I think Marvel forgets that a lot. I really do. It just, and that's what again, that weight just disappears. We don't see that very often anymore, and that's a problem, right? You gotta have something. And sometimes when I even have lost and make a joke about it, they brush by it. Thor did that with when they lost Natalie Portman's character for her name. It just didn't have that impact, not for me anyway. But no, overall really good. But I actually prefer Doom Patrol's ending better, to be honest with you.
Once again, speaking of loss and weight and significance, Doom Patrol coming in with the clutch.
I mean, I was worried about this. I didn't.
We both were worried about.
As far as it being the final season, it was okay as a season. It was all right. But the ending was really good. And if they stuck the landing, they did exactly what it needed for the most part. I mean, I'll start with my only gripe of Doom Patrol. The first 10 minutes, right? They just kind of wrapped up the whole thing with, Immortimus.
Oh, it went super fast.
Which you and I talked about. We said something's going to get shortchanged, right? We said that. And on cue, right? Boom. I was like, okay, starting with this. All right. I'm like, already? Okay, fine.
Like, we even said, listen, Doom Patrol, if you're going to wrap up big this last season, you haven't done a lot of effects for the whole series. So spend all your money on the effects on this last episode and go big. That was my wish. So seeing Crazy Jane become Kaleidoscope and Cyborg had his new armor, I was like, oh man, here we go. And they're like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do the thing you think we're gonna do.
Exactly.
No,
which is that's Doom Patrol, right? But the first time it came and went, it was kind of silly. Whatever, fine, right? I forgave it because okay, it's not how you start, how you finish sometimes. And that those last 20, 30, 40, whatever, wrapping everything up, I thought was very poetic and poignant. And this show was at its best when it focused on the humanity of these characters, right?
Absolutely.
And finally, them circling back to all of them, accepting, embracing who they really are and moving forward and what we do now really worked. I was surprised they killed off Rita. I didn't think that was going to happen, right? And I was like, oh, okay. And then the ghost came back. And I'm like, oh, but then she finally did go away. That was really cool.
I mean, her death was beautiful and silly all at the same time.
Again, Doom Patrol style, which is great.
Perfect
right?
Doom Patrol. Like it gets in the feels and it makes you laugh. And then it makes you like put your hand on your face. And then it makes you laugh again. And then it makes you sad. And you're like, that's great. I love it.
And she had that great scene with, oh my God, that guy with the bandages.
With a Negative Man.
Negative Man, thank you. Yes, great scene. That quick little goodbye. That was
Great.
very touching.
So
That
good.
man, perfect. Little moments like that. He had his moment. I liked. Jane. Obviously, she went off to do her thing and met up with the whatever girl. That was fine.
Space Girl, whatever her name was. Yeah.
That worked a lot. Even Cyborg, and we kind of caught a glimpse of what his future was from the last episode. And
right.
That
Exactly.
Really good.
So
Again,
kind of he's completing his loop by doing that. Like, all right, cool.
And everything was nice. He rapped, but again, wasn't happy. Rita died. That's not exactly a happy ending. And of course, Robot Man, which it got me. That got me. I'll admit it. That got me. What I expected when Mortimus gave him that crystal, whatever it was. Right. I was expecting, he's going to become human, which I would have been okay with. And that would have been the obvious choice. I thought that was going to
cure his Parkinson's.
Or something. Fine, fair enough. Something like that, right? And it was right. And I would have been fine with it. I would have been like, okay, cool, great.
Yeah, I would have been cool. Yeah.
But I loved what they did instead. Him, I guess that crystal gave him a glimpse of his grandson and seeing his life and almost paralleling his in some ways.
Almost. So that's what essentially that would have been his life if he never became Robot Man.
Exactly.
He would have been.
Yeah, exactly. And seeing those moments and then him dying, I was like, wow. That got me. I was like, wow, that was perfect. That little 2-minute section was perfect.
In that little 2-minute section, it encapsulates what Doom Patrol is, which is like, even in the broken, uncomfortable, fallible humanity, eventually, if you can hang out long enough, it can become something beautiful.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And it can become something more than the total sum of its parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because his son or his grandson doesn't become a man until his daughter becomes a mom. Mm-hmm. And he now will have the opportunity to be the kind of grandfather that Robot Man never got a chance to.
Yeah.
And that
really cool.
is, for him, perfect.
It was really perfect. Him dying at that moment. I mean, I don't think I could have even thought of that, doing something that good for the show. And it's cool because the show started with him. He was the very first character. It's very, kind of poetic.
He was a POV character.
And then now it ends with him. So I thought that was a great kind of bookend, wrapping it up with that character. Yeah, dude, I really enjoyed it. I was concerned, but I thought they hit out of the park. I really did. It was a very good ending. Although the season in its entirety was okay, the ending made up for it. And as I said, as long as you can end well.
To me, the series finale that we just saw and the musical episode were my two favorite episodes for this season.
Yes, of course, that was a great episode. But the rest was like, they were just trying to get to where they're going. That's fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can totally tell. Like, we got two great ideas, and we got 4 ways to get there.
How do we get to as quickly as can? Okay, here we go. I'll forgive it. Fine. Listen, if you're going to do that, you better hit it. You better stick that landing, right? If you're going to short changes like that. And they did. Okay.
And once again, weight, loss.
Yes, thank you. Of course.
Weight and loss. But everyone still had a good ending. Yeah, it wasn't a happy.
And it wasn't like and like that because they gave us both. But he said it just wasn't all happy. Which again, I would have been fine with. No problem. I expected it. I expected that. And to subvert those expectations, give us something different. Yeah, give us loss and happiness all together. But loss done in a good way. You feel good about it. Yeah, dude. Kudos to them, dude.
Oh, and let's not forget Madame Rouge.
Oh,
the owning her anti-heroism in a way, because there's a beautiful tragedy when you realize that she went back to the ant farm with a blowtorch, and as she's burning them, it looks like she's about to cry for a second, and then she gets really happy about it. And I'm like, that's perfect.
It really is. Like everything,
it exactly
makes sense, right? They didn't overreach. Yeah. They set up a lot of this stuff before on the show. So it was very fitting how they came to it. They knew they had a plan. They stuck to it. Disney, Captain Kenny, pay attention. As long as you have a plan and you work towards that plan, right? It's not that hard. But yeah, this is the kind of thing that I wish, Marvel does more of. We got it in Loki, but we need more of that.
Right.
We need more of that. Right?
Yes, exactly.
All throughout. Like, every show has to have that to make it a great show.
let this last episode of Loki and the last episode of Doom Patrol be a call to arms to anyone who wants to do superhero comic book stuff.
Just
you can do this,
and
it's still going to be great.
Yeah, just endings in general.
This would be a really good. This would be a good place to start up again.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this all the time, but it's a good place to start up again.
Like this way you can do it. You can end these scenes can have weight to them and just emotion, and that's what I like. Particularly Doom Patrol, a little bit more in Loki, which is fine. That's not a complaint. This was a series finale, right? And Loki's not, so different. But yeah, dude, like I said, it got me there, and I thought, man, that was nice. It was just like, okay, I feel good about that. It's like that I was happy about it. This has been the best DC show, obviously.
Can I tell you my third favorite line? Mm-hmm. My third favorite line from this episode was the talk between Cyborg and Madame Rouge, where she was like, "How do I know when I've gone too far?" And he goes, "I'll let you know."
Yeah, that's right.
Like that was a great. It's such a great line because here's a character who's like, "I'm barely holding on, and I feel like I'm gonna fuck things up, and I'm so fucked up, I don't know what that means I'm gonna do, and I'm really scared." And the other guy who was like, finally got it all together, going, "You're my friend, and I trust you, but if you get too much in your own head, when I show up, that'll be the reminder. Time to take a step back."
Exactly. That was really cool. I like that. And
I like that a lot.
It wasn't an exciting episode. It didn't have to be. Like I said, you don't have to give us all flash and all. You don't need all that. We don't need a huge third act. We don't, right? And if anything, this show just kind of rushed the third act, technically speaking, the climax.
Listen, Doom Patrol once had a season end with a giant robot drilling through the center of the earth to go back in time to fight monsters. We've done it. Exciting. It doesn't get crazier than that.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to top yourselves.
Now let's just get a little personal.
Yeah. Exactly. And this show has been the best when it's done that. Right. Of all the kookiness, which I love, all that. It's at its core, the heart of this show is what kept us going. What kept us.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing that you can see. That's relatable. Everything else is just like so off the wall. We just like it because we're maybe we're all screwed up in the head. And like it's cool. Right. But
sex goes.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's like that connection emotion where these guys are going. That's what you latch onto ultimately at the end of the day. And I really wish these everyone does that, DC included, right? DC and Sony and MCU get back to that. We got that. I think you're right. Iron Man was a great example of them starting off in that way, right? That's like, although it wasn't in the film, that middle when he became Iron Man, decided to become Iron Man. That was a good weight, emotional. That worked. That shit works, man. We need more of that. Going back to this, we needed that in that movie and all these movies. So I'm afraid that I think they're just kind of giving a spectacle and just rushing to give us the next thing.
We know you. Here's the thing, spectacle, and I hope you don't get demonetized or whatever the case for this, but spectacle is like having a huge private part. It's real showy, but if you don't give us why it matters, you're just someone who's flopping around.
It's noise. It's there. It's it's not a bad thing, but it's not everything. Right? Ultimately, it's not everything. So kudos to both of them, man. Ending us off really great. Really kind of, washing the taste of Miss Marvel's, from the head. It's like, okay, I got two really good endings, two really good shows, and all that. So great.
I will give you a little sneak peek into my viewing process. I watched Doom Patrol first, and then I watched Loki. Okay. So because of that, Loki's finale got me a little emotional as well. Like the end scene, I was like, "Oh man, these two people have sacrificed so much."
It's right there. It built you up. Yes, I think I saw. What did I see? No, I saw Doom Patrol. I saw Loki first.
Okay.
Loki. So I saw it on Thursday night, right? No, I take it back. You're right. No, I saw Doom Patrol first. I take it back. I saw Doom Patrol in the morning at Thursday, and then night that's when I saw Loki.
Oh, I saw them back to back. So I was night. So I wasn't back to back. So
whatever, a day of in between, but whatever.
Yeah, you spaced out your emotions. I was like,
spaced out. I was like, so I was okay. I'm ready. But yeah, so yeah, good for them. Dude. I'm happy about that. I didn't want Doom Patrol. I was afraid this was not ending.
I'm so glad we invested into Doom Patrol. It was a great experience. It wasn't Titans. It wasn't Titans.
No, Jesus.
It wasn't Titans. It wasn't Boba Fett. It wasn't Obi-Wan. It was solid. It rewarded everything that we put into it. That they put into it.
I think it ended in a way you should be satisfied. As far as I'm concerned, I'd be surprised.
It's a kind of it's the kind of show now that I can openly recommend anyone and go, if you
Oh,
make it to the last
I
episode,
got you. Yeah,
you are gonna
I
love it.
got you. Yeah, it's good all the way through, right? For the 4 seasons.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
be like it's only to season 2, then it drops off.
Right.
Like, no, you can say
No,
the
it's
whole
just
thing. It
this
actually
show's been
just gets better
consistent. It's
every
been
season.
consistent as far as I'm concerned. Some seasons
Yeah.
better than others, like, as of any shows, it goes through that, right? But it's good, man. Enjoyed it, man. I'm glad it ended well. So speaking of ending well, that's how we're gonna end here. We're still gonna live though. It's a happy ending for us.
Boom! Guys, that has been the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe here on YouTube on the Latin Nerd Network, where you can watch Nerdsplaining. You can watch the Watch This. You can watch Thanos' Choice, and so many other shows coming up. I promise. Don't forget you can follow us on social media at Nerdsplaining Pod on Instagram, at Nerdsplaining _ on X Twitter. You can go to ericdasilva.com, EricDasilva. You can watch all the original audio episodes there for you for free. No problem whatsoever. While you're there, don't forget to pick up my album, Adorably Offensive. I will also be on tour, and I'm doing shows around Georgia right now. In December, I will be in Goonies in Rochester, Minnesota. So don't forget to get tickets there December 8th through the 9th. If you are a parent and a nerd and your kids are into nerd stuff, don't forget to check out Danger Squad at dangersquad.com. It's a new graphic novel we're working on. We got some, so if you want to go to Webtoons or Tapas or Global Comics, you can see we are releasing chapter 1 for free in segments. And so far, a lot of good response. So thank you so much and keep reading. Don't forget, if you have any questions, let us know what you think. Let us know what you like. We'd love to hear back from you. Once again, I have been Eric Da Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. If you don't know, now you know.
Peace.
Boom.